you will wear Crocs. I don't know if that's a threat. I don't know if that's a promise, but we have another business video over on the Fat Files presented by the Fat Electrician.
You guys knew this one would be unhinged and you still kept requesting it, so this one's your fault.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Today we're talking about Crocs. Okay, I'm not gonna go into depth explaining what Crocs are. Okay, you know what Crocs are. It's the official footwear of people that don't give a single fuck about anything, and parents that are too lazy to tie their kids' shoes, went to JCPenney's, saw the shoes with the Velcro, and were like, that's still too much work. Give me the miniature Jason Voorhees mask and get it on my kid's foot so I don't have to do anything.
Who do you think you are?
Okay, and before you get all butthurt, my kids have Crocs too, okay? I am also that parent. In fact, Cutter, Cash!
My God.
Run! It's a stampede!
Boys, show the people your Crocs. What kind of Crocs do you got? You got Hot Wheel Crocs? And Cutter's got Minecraft Crocs with his Minecraft shirt, because everything's got to be Minecraft. Yeah. Exactly. All right.
I was about to say the licensing on this is probably really expensive, but then I remember having a conversation with my buddy about how, like, somebody could just go to a company like Disney, and there's effectively just like a flat fee, potentially. I don't know how actual licensing works in terms of corporate IP and stuff, right? But that's how you, like, that from my understanding is how you get, like, you know, Mickey Mouse toothbrush or insert Mickey Mouse product here, is that somebody approaches Disney and is like, hey, we have a product, we want the mouse on it. Cool, pay us X amount. Grats, we give you limited license to use this for this specific thing, right? Like, I don't know. The world of licensing fascinates me, but like, I don't know why this is relevant. I just licensing, legal, it all fascinates me. I'm sorry, I totally just derailed the entire video.
Good job. See you boys later.
See you, Dad.
Love you.
See you, butthead.
Got him.
I ain't gonna kill you this time. I'm just gonna kick your ass.
So yeah, we all know what Crocs are, and to be honest with you, I was pretty convinced and or hoping that it was just a really long, drawn-out fad at this point, but now that I've done the research into the company and I've looked at everything, not only am I thoroughly convinced it's not a fad and it's not going anywhere, Crocs is probably gonna take over the world at some point and be the only shoe anybody wears ever, like the movie Demolition Man, where every restaurant becomes Taco Bell.
Now all restaurants are Taco Bell.
Dude, man, I wish, dude.
No way.
And we're gonna get into it right after a word from our sponsor.
Delete me.
Where did you get an HK416?
Don't worry about it.
What? Where are you going? Is that my blood diamond shirt? All right, here's the deal. Super simple, straightforward business model. You give them money, they turn around and make sure the data brokers on the internet aren't selling your personal information. What does that even mean? Okay, here's the entire internet and every free service on the planet inside of a nutshell, okay? There's a saying, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. What that means is pretty much anything on the internet that you use, that's a service, whether that be Google, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all of it, okay? It's all an app, so one of two things is happening. They're either gonna feed you ads, and that's how that company makes money since their service is free, or they're gonna collect your personal information, then turn around and sell it to data brokers on the internet, and then they're gonna turn around and sell it to whoever buys it, and next thing you know, you're getting 17,000 robocalls every single day. And that's where Delete Me comes in. They will look through all the major data brokers and find the ones that are selling your personal information and submit opt-out requests on your behalf, and then they are legally obligated to comply. And then they'll continue to monitor these data brokers, and if they get your information again, Delete Me will submit an opt-out request again. Basically, you're paying Delete Me to get rid of all the downsides of all of the free stuff on the internet, which I think is absolutely worth it. If you want to check them out, I'll have a link and a discount code down below. Let's get back to the video.
I'd give it a 9, honestly. Like, I think the transition was great. Self-contained bit, such as I know a lot of YouTubers, if the contract runs out, they'll actually cut the thing out. Not that I think he'll do it right, but it is a self-contained bit. It felt additive to the video. You acted like you wanted to watch the ad read. About 60 seconds. I mean, honestly, pretty good. I mean, keep it 60 seconds or less is my personal opinion. I've watched certain reactions like, oh, what was it? There was like a mattress ad read for Saberspark, and that man went on for like 2 minutes, and like, I don't know how to word it. Like 30 seconds, I just kind of like trailed off, right? So like, I say things, but it's genuinely because I think that the read is good. Trust me. Audio is consistent. Visuals made sense. I'm growing attached to the banner at the bottom of the screen. I know a lot of people don't do banners like that, especially when they're static like that. But I think that is a very clever use of screen space. I give it a 9. I liked it.
All right, our story begins like all great stories with a boys' trip between three homies, Lyndon, George, and Scott. And they go out on this fishing trip in the Caribbean, and Lyndon brings with him this ugly-ass pair of foam clogs for his fishing shoes. He picked them up on his last fishing trip in Quebec from some Canadian company called Foam Creations, and they were marketed as like these boat shoes that were really good for boating because, you know, they're foam, they're super comfortable. Because they're foam, they're waterproof, they're odor resistant. If they fall in the water, they float, so it's not gonna sink to the bottom of the ocean. And for that, they were pretty great. The only problem, obviously, they're ugly and dorky looking, so his two friends did the appropriate thing that dudes do, and they roasted him for it the entire time.
I mean, you have to understand. I feel like obviously women do it too, right? Obviously, everyone does it, right? I don't know. This feels like a very appropriate dude thing, though, just to roast each other over something like that. Like you can bring this really cool new fishing reel out. Like I think it's like a bait cast or something like that. But I don't know. It's like pink or something. I love pink personally. Y'all can get bent, but you know, and they just should have roasted over. Wow, look at bubblegum over here. Hey, cotton candy, you want to give me some more line? Right? And I don't know. It's a very interesting interaction because I see it a lot with dudes, and I feel that we grow from it.
But then he ends up convincing them to try it on, and holy shit,
Yeah.
they're awesome.
It was actually worth it.
It's like doing a silk bag full of puppy ears.
What?
Oh. How the hell would you even know what that felt like?
They literally go from, those shoes are hideous and stupid, keep them away from me, to, hey, it's my turn to wear the sandals.
All right,
Yeah.
who's got it? I've got it.
Donnie.
I'll give it back to Thad, but I just need one more night with it, please.
Now, all three of these friends
His movie references, it shows how uncultured I am with movies. Like how, what was it? I had to post yesterday in the community tab where I'm just like, what is the funny that escalated quickly movie? I'll like refer to it as, because I didn't know what the movie was, I just refer to it as the, because of the Fat Electrician edit. It's just the Brandon Herrera drinking movie. To which everyone's like, Kip, you've never seen Anchorman? What do you mean? Like, what rock do you live under? I live under a very great rock, thank you very much, okay? I've decorated it, I've painted it, okay? The mortgage sucks, but you know what? At least the home insurance is pretty minimal on it.
are like successful entrepreneur type people, and they're like, okay, we should actually buy up this company and start selling these shoes, and we could probably even make the product better. And George is like, yeah, we could start adding a bunch of different colorways and then have color options for everybody. Which, to be fair, good idea, but Scott has the ultimate idea. We should put a strap on the back so this bad boy's got 4-wheel drive, and then when we don't want to be in sport mode, we can flip it forward and still wear them like normal sandals.
Yeah.
You crazy son of a bitch, you did.
Okay, history has just been made. They end this fishing trip, they immediately go to that Foam Creations company out of Canada, and they obtain a licensing agreement. Not only is Foam Creations gonna make the shoes for them, they also have exclusive rights to Croslite, which is a special type of foam that Crocs are made out of.
I feel like this is rich person territory, right? Like your average person could come to the same conclusion, but they just don't have the upfront capital to invest in something like this, either to purchase the business outright, either to become a massive shareholder within the business, if it's publicly traded, or licensing agreement fairly more reasonable, right? But then again, that comes back to the concept of, how do you gain the capital to do something like this? And is that not why business loans exist, right? Like, don't take what I say as go do the thing. Obviously, I hate that I have to make disclosures to protect myself, but like literally go talk to your financial advisor, right? Don't watch a video that I'm reacting to and be like, I'm going to go take out a business loan to invest in sandals. Like, bro, please. The fact that we live in a world where I feel I have to make the relevant disclosures to prevent someone from being like, well, that Kip guy told me to go get a business loan or invest in sandals. Oh, we live in a time.
So they pull some money together, get 200 pairs made, and then that same year in 2002, they go to the Fort Lauderdale boat show, set up a table, and are literally at this boat show overhanding Crocs at people that are walking by. And then when they stop because they just got hit with a fucking shoe, and they're like, why? The person's like, hey, just try them on. And they end up selling all 200 pairs in like a couple of hours.
You have to be careful with this, though, because you have to make sure you're doing it in the right place. You have to make sure, I would assume law enforcement would have to in some way, shape, or form, like, know what's going on, right? Because, I don't know, you're walking downtown Boise, Idaho. You're walking in LA. You're walking in Dallas, Texas, and somebody throws a shoe at you. Okay. pretty sure that's not going to be a fun interaction.
And from here, they're off to the races. It's all downhill from here. Crocs are like a plague. They're like vampires, okay? Because now those 200 people are gonna go home, they're gonna force all their buddies to try on these funky looking shoes, and everybody's gonna be like, oh my God, and then they're gonna go buy a pair too. And that's exactly what happens. In 2003, they sell 76,000 pairs, and then in 2004, they have so much money that they just buy out Foam Creations as a whole. Now they own the factory, and they own the patent for the special foam Croslite, so nobody's ever gonna be able to copy them. Which
I will say that does come under contention, and I think that falls into the same territory as patenting game mechanics, which I and many other people are firmly against. There is, was it Vanta black? There's a specific type of black that absorbs like 99 some odd % of light, right? But then they patented it, and then somebody out of spite. We've talked about this before. I don't know I can't remember the exact details offhand. But then someone made a darker version of Vanta Black, and then made sure that in the agreement of buying the black product that you didn't sell to the person who trademarked Vanta Black. Like, there's a whole story there. I would actually be I think that might make a great Fat Fives reaction just for the sheer amount of spite. Oh my God. But I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on it. So, like, on one hand, you want to protect your investment, right? Like, this is technically no different than, say, like, I don't know, Apple trademarking certain technology, or Samsung maybe patenting a board or something like that, right? Board configuration, etc. Like, it is protecting your investment, and it does give you legal recourse. Well, in a dream world, let's be real, it does give you recourse against, anyone who would want to steal that. But once again, we have countries from around the world creating these problems with seemingly no legal recourse. But remember, if you do something wrong in the US, oh boy, you better get your lawyers ready. So I do disagree with that, and I think the system is fundamentally flawed on that point. I guess it depends. I think it's also like contextual and situation dependent, right? Like a specific Croslite, I almost said alloy. It's not an alloy, right? Composition, right? Sure. Right. It's not like you're trying to trademark the color black or trying to trademark the actual sky, right? I know when it comes to trademarking specifically, Sky News is kind of in an interesting situation because there was certain stuff that happened with that one allowing it to happen, right? But that's why you see, Elon Musk wants to trademark X, and it's like, no, you dumb shit. You can't trademark a letter. Oh, God. I really love these videos. These videos always do bad because, reacting to business and finance. But dude, this stuff is right up my alley. He does a really good job with these videos.
It's a brilliant idea because Crocs are like the easiest shoes on the planet to make. It's literally an injection molded shoe. You just liquefy the resin, shoot it inside of the mold, wait 10 minutes, pull it out, ta-da, you've got a fucking Croc. Then in 2005, they rebrand and officially become Crocs. They named it that because crocodiles can be in both land and in sea, and they're super tough and they last forever. Then they launched their first big marketing campaign with the slogan, "Ugly is beautiful," which is absolutely perfect for Crocs. These guys.
So this is where I'm going to take contention with that, actually. So I'm for this, right? I think it becomes a little hypocritical when people go, I don't want to see their big XXXL supermodels, right? That's that diversity thing. When you literally have this that says ugly is beautiful. It's why I stopped firearms content. The hypocrisy did become a little too much for me. I couldn't do it anymore.
For experienced entrepreneurs, they're 2 years into this, they're already completely vertically integrated, and they know exactly what makes them successful. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Why is ugly is beautiful a genius idea, right? It's like saying hot is cold. You're saying two things that are objectively not the same thing are the same thing. How is that the key to success? Okay, let me lay this out for you. You see, Crocs are a lot like pugs. Pugs are a genetic abomination that would not exist on this planet if it were up to evolution and natural selection. But somehow, they're absolutely everywhere, and they're thriving, and it comes down to the simple fact that they are so ugly that the apex predator on the planet, human beings, look at them and go, haha, that shit's funny, I'm gonna keep one. In the same way that humans have taken a badass wolf out of the forest and through selective breeding turned it into a pug, Scott, George, and Lyndon have taken Air Jordans and Timberlands and all the other cool footwear to ever exist and turned it into a Croc and said, look at this fucking abomination, try it on.
It's actually an upgrade.
So let me rephrase my hypocrisy statement. I think that it does come down to when it's done hypocritically. I think at the end of the day, have whatever slogan you want, right? Bigger is better. It's insert thing here, right? I think that's fine. I think when it comes down to, like, if somebody's going to hardcore slam skill and merit on people, right, and then suddenly have an entire, you know, oh well, no, this is a great, not accusing Fat Electrician of doing this, obviously, because once again, I have to make relevant disclosures because it's the internet, right? But like, I think it's the hypocrisy part that gets to me, right? That's really consistently what has been a thorn in my side. I also want to say as well that when we talk about like the design of it, it's so just fundamentally different than any other shoe on the market. I think in a situation like this, I think the patent on, honestly, the shoe itself would be fine, whether that's composition, even design, right? Because you know, when this gets, when you know, Crocs gets big, you're gonna have competitors. You're gonna have Nike, or as the Brits say, Nike, right? You'll have them come in. You'll have, you know, other shoe manufacturers start to make their own quote unquote off-brand Crocs, right? To which, you know, does that necessarily pass the Jif Lemon test, right? Does that, we've talked about it before on the channel in regards to being legally distinct. And if the new product, say a Croc made by another big footwear manufacturer, is that going to be recognizable and differentiable from a Croc, right? Like, there's so many things that go into this. And on that understanding, especially when you're going from a small and or smaller business competing against titans in an industry, I do think, yeah, especially if you're making something that different from everything else, you should be able to afford certain protections, right? Thus, we get into a commentary on the world at large in its current state, where there aren't consequences for things, and even if there are consequences for things, either it's a slap on the wrist fine, either you have to pay out, even if a lawsuit comes to pass, all you have to do is settle out of court, that way precedent doesn't get to, you know, get set, and thus, you know, why we consistently have issues with quality control, and why we consistently have issues with X company, you know, with, you know, Y scandal, and then as you start rotating through companies, right? Like, there's a number of business commentaries you can make at that point. I think we've lost the plot of just make a good product, five head, and especially when everything's a subscription at this point, and you don't really own anything. Like, these videos make you think.
Upgrade, you say?
Yes, sir.
Oh. Don't mind if I do.
Okay, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to explain to you that they've finally unraveled how to market this to normal, everyday people, right?
Yeah.
Because up until now, they're just marketing it as a boating shoe, but now they've figured out how to weasel their way into the common zeitgeist and get everybody to buy this shit. If you want to look sporty and cool, you buy Nike. If you want to look sporty and not cool, you buy Adidas or Skechers. If you want to look like a blue-collar guy, you buy yourself some work boots. If you want to look like a blue-collar guy but don't actually want to work, you buy yourself some Timberlands. And if you want to look like a blue-collar guy but only want to work like 6 hours a week at a coffee shop and then bitch about the patriarchy and social justice online the rest of the time, you buy yourself some Doc Martens, you know, that shoe that was invented by a Nazi doctor in World War II, because nothing says social justice quite like that.
I've actually brought this up. Was it Marilyn Monroe? Or was it Chanel? I think it was Chanel. Yeah. No, it's, well, yeah, I'm looking at, it's from BBC, take with grain of salt. I refuse to use Google AI. It is article February 20th, 2024. It is well known that she had a long affair with a Nazi agent, Hans Gunther von Dinklag. I have no idea how to say, also known as Spots. Like, yeah, but, you know, you see, you know, people using Chanel how many times, right? Or IBM literally making computers to catalog things in the camps. Well, I guess that's a weird one because, I mean, I don't know when the last time I've actually seriously seen someone use an IBM computer, right? I guess maybe schools. But that's a really effed up commentary. That's pretty foobar if, you know, IBM is default, you know, computer in a box for literal schools, right? Point being, right? I just want to say, we get mad at this. Valid, right? I don't really hear anyone complaining about Volkswagen. I don't hear anyone complaining about Chanel. I don't hear anybody complaining about IBM, right? Any other number of, you know, Nazis supporting companies historically. We need to be fair. That is pretty hilarious.
Saying yes. Let's talk about fine.
Don't worry, I got more.
It is actually why I refuse to ever interact with certain companies like Chanel, like their brand, the Chanel brand. No, no thanks.
If you could almost do a kickflip 20 years ago and now both your knees crack when you get out of bed, you probably wear Vans. And if it's fall and you want to send out the message that you're not like all the other girls, you probably wear Ugg boots, you know, like all the other girls.
I'm sorry, but the test was positive.
I don't even think I've ever seen anybody actually wear these boots. I've only ever seen them in like pictures on social media. I don't think they're not real. They can't hurt me.
And then if you want to let everybody know that you don't wear deodorant, you have a small collection of crystals, and you blame all your shitty character flaws on astrology,
and then you go to the game store and you smell like the great unclean one in warm Subway. Bro, I hate game shops for that reason. Please start kicking people out.
Probably wear Birkenstocks. There, is everybody offended? We're all equal now. Good, moving on.
No, I'm not offended, okay? I'm a dingus on the internet that wears black boots, okay? I don't know what that says about me. What about ye olde dad personalities who wear sandals in Idaho when it's winter? Dude, I've seen these people. They exist. Like, these people will wear, like, you know, like a winter jacket in winter, and then they'll wear, like, shorts and flip-flops. I don't quite understand it. That one still is strange to me.
Enough?
And then finally, Crocs became a thing. Finally, a shoe that said to the entire world, my feet are comfy and I don't care what you think about me. And if you have a problem with it, I will flip these bad boys into 4-wheel drive and we can address the issue. It is quite literally the official footwear of
I don't give a fuck.
Buh! This is a bunch of cope because you wear Crocs. Buh! No.
Bro, that is such a weird one, though. Like, because the internet would actually say that, unironically. The internet quite literally would be like, well, you know, this is just confirmation bias or whatever. Oh, bro. Bro, I love these buh bits because they're so good. Like, they're so... It is a very tongue-in-cheek way of firing back at idiots in the comment section.
I don't wear Crocs. I actually had to go buy a pair of Crocs for this video, and I've yet to try them on. Why? Because I'm scared, to be completely honest with you. I treat Crocs the same way I treat cocaine. I avoid it because I'm concerned I'm gonna like it too much. You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try them on. All right.
I love that he said cocaine, and my brain immediately went to the intro for Blazing Saddles. You know, some people, they start talking about everyone's pick your own poison, right? Cocaine does it for some people. And then the dude fires back with, you know, no, and an actual song, like the Camptown Lady. Oh my God, that movie lives rent-free in my head. Oh my God.
Here we go.
Movie was life-changing. Whoa, live feet reaction? You know, Fat Electrician. People put this behind paywalls for a reason, right? There are sites for this, right? People will gladly pay money for feet pictures. I don't understand it, but it's a very lucrative business. Dude, you're getting this for free, okay? He's treating everybody.
My wife's gonna be pissed. They're even comfier than I thought. I don't know how that's possible. You know what? Fuck it. My feet are comfy. I don't care. King Arthur couldn't pull me out of these shoes. Sorry, we're completely unhinged at this point. We got to get back to the story. So 2025, they start marketing to absolutely everybody. And if we pull up the stock chart, you can see it goes pretty fantastic. Yeah. They become a full-blown fad. People absolutely love them. Because of that, they take the company public and they end up raising $208 million, which is the highest IPO for a shoe company ever. They then use some of that money to double down on the quirky ugliness, and they buy out a company called Jibbitz. Jibbitz was a company making those little tiny plastic things that you can shove inside the hole of a Croc that shows off, like, I don't know, your favorite sports team or your favorite cartoon character, or a Croc, you know, in case you want somebody to look at your Croc wondering what type of shoes you like, so you have a Croc Jibbit on your Croc.
No, you would not catch me doing this. But then again, I am pretty boot pilled, right? I do like my boots. I do like having work boots. Owned a pair of military surplus boots at one point. They weren't super comfortable. The glue on them also gave out fairly easily, which was a little concerning. But like, I don't know. I'm very much a boot stan.
Guess who's back?
Basically, they just allowed more customization. They could allow your particular flavor of ugly. And to be fair to Croc, I do respect the fact that they actually bought this company out, because I'm fairly confident there's no way this company had a patent on a chunk of plastic that fits inside of a hole. They probably could have just started manufacturing it themselves, brought about the end of that company, but they paid them out like $10 to $20 million instead. So
I would say that this is what, vertical integration, like we talked with, was it the DEB, right? I always want to say DEI, but that's literally not the name of the company. The Texan company. DEB. Once I go to one, I will actually remember. Yeah, DEB. Where DEB, back in the oldie days, vertically integrated, right? To deal with their own canning and stuff. Therefore, cutting down on some of the costs and making sure to expedite some of the manufacturing and shipping, right? Like, this just reads to me like vertical integration of a product, because I'm sure in the acquisition, right, I'm sure they're going to get, you know, whatever factories, you know, molds, whatever is being used, right? Like, I feel that it is a purchase, an investment rather, that just allows them to do it far cheaper by just buying out another company.
I respect that part. All right, on to 2027.
Fuck. 2027, bro.
Buh! You didn't tell everybody how in 2006 the movie Idiocracy came out and everybody in that movie wore Crocs because they thought it was the dumbest shoe ever at the time. Buh! Yeah.
Okay, Idiocracy is one of the best movies ever made. I'm sorry, one of the best documentaries ever made, okay? Bro, look, I work social media, okay? You want an actual, like, you know, oh God, what's the word I'm looking for? Sociology. I almost said socialism. That's not the right word. You want a sociology experiment? Cool. Look at my comment section. Look at his comment section, right? There are a lot of dumb people online, okay? Like, oh, that movie is a documentary at this point. It is wild, okay? You shouldn't look at I almost said documentary. You shouldn't look at Idiocracy or Beavis and Butthead, right? And be like, that's what I want to do with my life. Oh my God, bro, please. Go watch Lord of the Rings or something. Go enlighten yourself.
Yeah, obviously, because everybody already knows that, okay? But hey, now that we're here, why don't you just go ahead and tell everybody that in Lord of the Rings, when Aragorn kicked a helmet and screamed,
but Aragorn, he's gonna talk about the thing everyone talks about, where Viggo Mortensen kicked the helmet and broke his toe, and that's why like the guttural like scream is just so real.
It was a real scream because he actually broke his foot, and then we can all watch Django Unchained, and you can stop the movie to tell everybody that Leonardo DiCaprio accidentally cut his hand on the dinner plate and acted the way through it anyways.
Did you know?
What a legend. Never seen Django Unchained.
Yes.
There, you happy? We're all on the same page now. On to 2027.
Man, dude, I wish. Do we have a click Adam Sandler fast forward button? I think it'd be interesting just to fast forward.
This is where they messed up absolutely everything. They took all the money and investments that they got after they bought Jibbitz. They had a ton of money left over, so they started investing in not Crocs. Basically, they turned the Croc brand into something that it wasn't and was never meant to be. They started trying to make normal shoes. They started trying to actually compete at making sandals against Birkenstock and making sneakers against Skechers.
Why? What's the value proposition? Are they relying on brand recognition at that point?
And it was a tremendous disaster. Okay, it happens every single time a company goes public. They get a bunch of
public shareholders, investors, investment firms. Dude, when do we actually either one, tell investors that they need to not, or there's got to be some sort of recourse at this point, because it happens in movies. It happens in video games. Okay, I'm pissed off that it happens in video games because you know a lot of the decisions coming down the pipeline are investor and shareholders, right? Like, where is the repercussion for John shareholder who says, nah, we need to make, you know, another extraction shooter or another battle royale in our upcoming game? And it's like, bro, this historically just doesn't work. Well, no, we need this. We need to pour dev resources and time into it. You the boss, Mr. Investor Man. Where's my recourse for that, okay? Huh? And then they complain when their profits are down, right? Dude, you want to talk about parasites of society? Investors and shareholders, unironically, which is paradoxical because they have the money to invest in things and stuff like that. But like, last I checked, investing was supposed to be a risk assessment kind of thing, right? Like, I could invest in big tech company today, a big tech company startup, and then a year from now, just it's not worth anything, or they go bankrupt and I don't have any money. Well, then again, I say that, but then the whole GameStop Robinhood thing proved that if you have money, investing doesn't have risk, because they can just say, nah, that doesn't count. The whole GameStop thing just doesn't count. Bro, I am still upset at Robinhood for that. Like that come on. At least don't say the quiet part out loud. Come on now.
Investors and a bunch of MBAs that know how to do business, that have huge ideas, but have never actually done anything on their own. And they're like, you know what? We should go with my ideas of completely changing a perfectly successful company.
This actually pisses me off. The whole Cracker Barrel thing, like the entire Moist Critical video, just watch that. I resonate with like 100% of his opinions in that.
Every fucking time this happens, okay? Do not do that. If you're successful at anything, not business, not this, not that, literally anything in life, if you're successful at it, keep doing whatever made you successful at it in the first place. You go home with the girl you took to prom. It's not that complicated. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But guess what? They tried to fix it. Then 2008, housing bubble pops, economic recession, the stock price drops from like $70 a share all the way down to $1 a share. They are on the verge of bankruptcy. And then guess how they fixed it? You're never gonna guess how they fixed it. They quit making all the stupid other shoe designs and just kept making Crocs. They were doing the thing that made them successful in the first place. Shocking.
So at what point do you just do a stock buyback? Because I mean, what, 1970s, 1980s, somewhere in there? Massive stock buybacks were made legal, right? Because before that, there was a little bit more that went into that. I don't know enough about the legislation at the time. I know about 1970, 1980, big corporate stock buybacks became a thing that was legal, or at least more legal. So at what point do you just, you know, because that's the thing, right? Is I had insurance broker try to pull the wool over my eyes. Like, I know we talked about this as a brief summary, right? Cool. You will not be retained on this policy because, you know, him and I had firm disagreements with each other. I told him I didn't recognize him because he literally, my prior agent who I had a good relationship with just quit. And then he got all my stuff. And I'm like, where's your legal paper? You keep referencing your legal paperwork that this is, you know, how this works. Where is it, right? So disagreements, said I won't be retained on policy. A week later, text me, says, I'm in error. You will be retained, right? And I'm just like, what? And so I end up calling him when I get charged again, because initially he gave his word that I would not be retained on the policy, right? And I told him, and this is how this is relevant to the situation. I told him, look, I used to work in finance. I know that there's exit clauses for any way, shape, form, or reason. If you as a business decide that you do not wish to cater to me, serve me, etc. further, right? Serve maybe a little weird. Like, you have the exit clause, right? Like at a financial institution, right? You could be a member there for years, right? You are a customer for years, decades even. And if you take pictures of checks that are emailed to you and try to direct deposit them, and you commit fraud, your institution can just tell you, you know, slap you on the ass and go, cool, you're no longer with us. Any debt you have with us, you do still owe us, obviously, but we're no longer going to be servicing accounts, and you are no longer a member and or customer with us, right? Like, there's that's literally in terms of service, right? We all know this is a thing. It's a quiet part that's not said out loud, right? A business can terminate business with you at any time. You know, it's in their best interest that they keep, you know, you as a client, you as a customer, you keep coming back, right? It's in their best interest that they keep that going. But they do have an exit clause. So at what point do companies go, you know, as an investor, as a shareholder, you have directly taken part in and signed multiple things that have showed a net loss on the company. We are going to, you know, executive order status and buy back your stocks. We will send you your final check, and you will no longer be with us. But once again, even if that's a thing, hypothetically, if it existed, it is still, I guess, technically in the business's best interest to just keep taking money. If anything, you could argue it's just shareholders and investors being stupid and giving free money to companies, even if the investors and shareholders are corrupting the business premise and causing the business to crater, right? The world of finance fascinates me. I had to get out of it because there were too many idiots and I couldn't agree with some of the things going on.
Problem, the fad that was Crocs in the early 2000s had already died and they killed it. So now they just had to go back to marketing to like boating people in healthcare, highly specific customers that used Crocs because they were working on their feet for long hours, because they needed a shoe that they could just rinse off in the sink if it got dirty and call it good. And they just kept marketing to that small niche minority for years. Then going back to the stock chart, you see in 2012, they got a little bit of a bump. I can only assume that the first Crocs that they sold in 2002 had finally worn out and those people bought another pair of Crocs in 2012. And then it just tapers back off and levels out again as they just keep marketing to that small niche community. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. You can still make a ton of money selling to fishermen and healthcare people. And you just keep doing that forever. And you got a perfectly good business. You keep making money year over year and you're still good.
I think that that's a big misconception. And this is, I think, where I would get into arguments with business professionals, anyone with a degree in business, right? Where it's like, look, you don't have to cater to everybody. You don't have to make something for everybody, right? What was I watching? I was watching something last night. I don't know. I was watching something last night and it was talking about some movies and stuff. And it's just like, this movie just doesn't appeal to me. It appeals to an audience. This movie doesn't appeal to me. Why do I want to watch that? Or games, right? I could go on Steam right now and find, you know, a number of games that are big hit games. And it's like, this doesn't appeal to me. I, as an adult, have my own choice to just not engage with it. So I think we do run into the logical fallacy of, well, we must cater and appease everybody, sell to everybody. In certain lines of business, I think that works, right? But even then, like, let's say you're selling something like chili, right? You know, good old Southern chili might not necessarily sell to a certain kind of person, right? If you have, I don't know, Maine Arctic crab in a bag, right? Or lobster in a bag, right? That might not cater to somebody who has more of a Cajun palate, right? I don't know, right? It could. There could be overlap there. But what I'm trying to get across is, look, sell the best product that you can and work off of that, right? It's why, like, even in what I do, right, with reactions, right? Like, I do what reactions I can, and if certain things work better, right, I will just do them. I love reacting to Scalagram content, right? But normally it doesn't do well. There's just people just don't have interest in sword stuff, and that's fine. So thus I end up tweaking my business model, quote unquote business model, to cater to what I do best, right? Talking about finance, because there are people who sit through the entirety of these and go, wow, Kip talks about finance a lot. Wow, this man pauses way too much. Or like talking about Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I very much like game design and competitive gaming, right? Like, play to your strengths at that point. So how this relates to in the business aspect is, why are you not playing to your strengths? Why are you trying to compete with all these other shoe brands when you are Crocs? Sure, if you want to compete, do a limited run thing, right? Do a limited run with, we're making 500 of these units. You get a complimentary voucher for 10% off your next order, right? And even if you don't want to do that, right? Like, brand it as a weird premium Croc thing, right? But like, what it's the phrase I keep hearing over and over is that if you try to be a friend to everybody, you're an ally to no one. And we see this in how many businesses, right? Just do your thing, right? Yes, absolutely. Feel free to branch out, but understanding that branching out is going to have its consequences. Consequences being positive, negative, and neutral, right? If the Fat Electrician tomorrow did a Yu-Gi-Oh video, right? He's allowed to do that. I don't know why he would. He's allowed to do that. He's allowed to make a video on going fishing, right? Is it necessarily what his audience would watch? The fishing one, I'm sure they'd watch a VOD of him and say, I don't know, him, Pewview, Habitual Line Crosser, right? Even Brandon Herrera, they all just go out and go on a fishing trip, right? I'm sure people would love to watch a video like that. Would they love to watch the Fat Electrician talk about, insert competitive game here, even Call of Duty? Probably not, because that's just it's just outside the purview of what he really does. And I'm sure he'll enjoy things like Call of Duty or Battlefield or something like that. But then you get into, how are you catering your business? Because what he's doing is a business, right? He is talking about things online, yes, much the same way that I am. Well, better than I am, let's be real. But like, he caters it in a specific way, right? Why is this on the Fat Files channel, which is more business focused, than an upload on the Fat Electrician? That has to do with how YouTube compartmentalizes things. That has to do with the algorithm. That has to do with maximizing return, right? A number of things go into this, right? Number of analytical and business things, right? And that's fine. He's playing to his strengths. He and his team are playing to his strengths. That's how that works.
But then something incredible happened in 2018, looking back at the stock chart. Okay, what happened in 2018? I'll tell you exactly what happened. All the people that were little kids during the first Croc boom, when they were 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, and their parents were buying them Crocs and sending them off to school because they were too lazy to tie their shoes, guess what? Now they're the 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old teenagers that determine everything that's cool in the world. Okay,
I would argue this, in a similar vein, is why a business like McDonald's can completely just eviscerate their brand image, right? Because we don't have, giant golden arches, as a sign. Well, we do have giant golden arches as a sign, right? But we don't have the red roof anymore. They're all, what they look like. They're bricks, right? The buildings are bricks, right? Like, but people will still go to McDonald's because, you know, they had fun Happy Meal toys when people were kids and stuff, right? Like, or why Pokemon still, I'm guilty of this. I still buy Pokemon games even at 30 years old, right? I don't want to talk about how much I've spent on retro Pokemon games. Like, I really don't want to talk about it. That's a non-zero amount. But like, yeah, they can just rely on, well, we've built up this rapport in the past, therefore it's going to carry through to the future. So I think this is really interesting.
You sent them off to school in stupid looking shoes, and they've literally turned around now at 18 years old and said, joke's on you, I'm into that shit. This is gonna be popular. Yeah. This is the greatest generational revenge that Gen Z is ever gonna have. Are they ever gonna be able to afford a house? Probably not. Are they ever gonna have affordable health care? Almost certainly not. But you know what? They had the capacity to make these stupid looking shoes cool, and that's exactly what they did, and I'm super proud of them. And guess what all of us are gonna be wearing in the old folks' home when they're the ones taking care of us? We're gonna be wearing Crocs.
You know what? Based.
Hell yeah.
So if you don't like Crocs, you better get over it now, because trust me, it's coming. There's only 2 types of people on the planet, people that hate Crocs and people that used to hate Crocs, and you're about to be the second one.
I mean, I think they look dumb as fuck, but I don't knock anyone for doing it. Sure, I'm sure I'd find a pair comfortable, right? I think even then, right? Like, I think he's absolutely correct. Obviously, this is supposed to be hyperbolic, right? This is supposed to be catering to your ethos, pathos, and logos. This is supposed to be like, you know what? You better try some Crocs, okay? Because you're gonna like them, right? Subliminal messaging, all that, whatever, right? Dude, like, I don't know, man. They look they look kind of dorky, but at the same time, it's like, it's not, I as a dingus on the internet look at things like that and go, well, maybe it's a product not marketed to me, you know? Me, personally, I don't think I'd look good in them, right? I'd much rather wear boots, but that's my own personal bias. I'm also, as many commenters and many people who've watched me for a period of time will know, bro, I'm stubborn. I am stubborn to a fault, right? I could literally be staring at something that is a much better fit for my life. Like this will literally increase your life in all the positive ways. And I'll go, nah, but it's not this way, even though the way I'm doing it is objectively worse, right? That's just how stubborn I am. That's just how that works for me. But no, I mean, like, I think they look kind of dorky, but at the same time, I'm not going to knock it if someone wears it, right? My arch and eyebrow, if that. I don't know, dude. I care way less about what other people do. I've talked about it a number of times where people care way too much about what other people do. It's kind of creepy, right? Like, I don't care if my neighbor, if he's nailing his boyfriend in their dungeon basement. Why should I care? I'm not seeing it. I'm not hearing it, right? I'm not invited. Why should I care? But to people, other people, they would go, well, you know that couple over there, they're a little gay. And I'm like, bro, that's so based, though. I'm sorry. I'm absolutely unhinged on this one. I was having a literal conversation earlier this week of the internet gay rules, right? And I think that can make a very fun series of just like, you know how like everything's gay on the internet, right? But that means like nothing's gay because everything's gay. So like, what if we take like things and we just present it to like the gay community? Like, so, but is this actually gay, right? If the tips touch, that's gay. But what if you both wear strap-ons and the straps touch? Okay. Is that still gay? Or is that not gay? By definition, because they're not touching. I'm absolutely unhinged on this one. Bro, this is a weird one for me. I have been laughing all week about the internet gay rules. It's been hilarious for me.
The business itself, though, Crocs said, okay, if Gen Z wants to make us cool, we're going to help them out. Crocs quite literally just went, okay, what's popular? Popular people. Famous people. Okay, we're going to start doing deals with famous people. Now you've got Post Malone Crocs. You've got Justin Bieber Crocs. You've got fucking Balenciaga high heel Crocs that are selling for $800 a pair and
I was about to say those look base, but then the price tag makes me go away.
Selling out in the first couple of hours. You know what else is popular? Memes. We can do memes. Fucking cowboy boot Crocs with spurs.
When are we getting Brandon Herrera in a pair of those? All I'm asking, okay? Let's get a Unsubscribed podcast. All of them are wearing the cowboy boots, okay? Then they go out to the range.
What?
Did anybody ask for cowboy boot Crocs? No. Does anybody want cowboy boot Crocs? No. Is there
fuck yes? What do you mean no?
a market of people that if you put it in front of their face, they'll go, oh my God, it's so ugly. I will buy it for the sole reason of wearing it to a party to get belligerently drunk. Absolutely. So they
Based.
helped Gen Z make it cool. They created another fad. Now, here's the thing. This is clearly a generational game, so we've got to set up the next generation for the future. We're going to sign a licensing deal with Disney, and then we're going to make Crocs cool for little kids. Okay, because now all the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds, they're not going to school and daycare in stupid plain colored Crocs. Oh no, now they're going to school in fucking Lightning McQueen Crocs, Shrek Crocs. My kid's going to school in Minecraft Crocs.
I'm actually mixed on licensing, if I'm being honest. I think licensing is the scourge of modern business. Licensing and subscription services. Let me explain a little. I'm going to try to explain this as quickly as I can. So, obviously, when we talk about capitalism, right, thing that the Fat Electrician is very passionate about. I'm very passionate about commerce, right? Yeah. Be able to make a good product, sell good product, be rewarded for good product, be excited for next product, right? Like, that's fine, right? Like, I think we all can generally get together and agree, yeah, if you have a banger idea, let's say you make a very sus-looking fishing lure, right, and it takes off, you should be rewarded for having the cojones to make a sus-looking fishing lure and it blowing up in popularity, right? I think that's incredibly fair. So, when we talk about licensing, we talk about an IP, or something that already exists, right? Whether that's Mickey Mouse, whether that's insert anime here, whether that's just insert thing here, right? Whatever thing you think, right? And, well, you're going to create the product for us, but we're going to charge you a premium to use our brand recognition. What is the company that is being licensed from, who's issuing the license? What are they actually doing to contribute, right? Sure, we can argue, well, they're contributing their image to said product, therefore the said product sells, thus helping said product. But when I look at it, I view it personally, in my own subjective opinion, as the company issuing the license is doing jack all, okay? They're not creating a new product. They're merely licensing it out, right? They're not adding anything. They're just using their brand recognition for something else to sell, and they're taking a cut of that, right? Like, I don't know. I look at licensing and I don't like it. Or then you run into the licensing issue of, well, this series has been pulled from this streaming service due to licensing. Gundam Dynasty Warriors 3 on the Xbox 360, before the server shut down, I could not re-download some of my DLC on Xbox, and I heard nobody talk about this because licensing had lapsed in the US. If I was in the UK, I still could have downloaded it. DLC I bought was removed from my account, unable to be re-downloaded because of licensing. I think that licensing is the scourge of modern business, because that is all encompassing. That leads into Sony, PlayStation saying that, you know, license with Discovery is lapsing. All of this content that you have quote unquote purchased, because they don't use anything like lease or rent, right? That you have quote unquote purchased is no longer, you just lose access to it. Or Redbox. A lot of people lost access to Redbox stuff when Redbox went bankrupt, right? Like, I have my bias, okay? Like, I have bought so many dumb things, right? I'm opening my drawer right now, and I'm seeing multiple Pokemon cards, right? Like, I buy dumb things all the time. But I'm just, I can't get into this modern thing of you have to license things, or you don't own things, right? If I have to connect a dishwasher to Wi-Fi, someone's getting a boot up their ass. That is a bridge too far, but that's a separate issue aside from licensing in general. I think that licensing is a scourge. I have brought what argument I can. I don't like it. Even though I don't like it, it's still just going to be the reality of it. At the end of the day, come to your own educated conclusion, right? And I'm sure that someone who has a bachelor's or master's in business can actually explain why licensing helps the economy, why licensing is actually a net positive in terms of revenue and stuff like that. Personally, I have such a strong disdain for companies doing nothing but licensing out. And then because they licensed out, they're getting rewarded simply because they got grandfathered into an IP, right? Last I checked, whoever currently owns Disney, right, or was currently the CEO, any of the executives, they didn't create Mickey Mouse, did they? Right? That kind of illustrates my point.
And guess what? He thinks it's awesome. He thinks they're the coolest shoes on the planet, and so do all the other little kids his age. He's gonna be wearing Crocs for the rest of his life, and I didn't even realize I did that to him until I made this video. Okay, it's game, set, match. The teenagers right now think it's cool, the kids right now think it's cool, and everybody else left over is gonna be forced into it the second they hit the retirement home. Crocs are going to take over the world as the only type of footwear.
World Domination Playlist.
You can already see it in the data. Crocs is worth like $5 billion right now. They literally went from $1 a share to $85 a share already. To put that into perspective, Nike's only $76 a share. Now, to be fair, Nike has way more shares and is still worth way more as a company for now, but you know who sees the writing on the wall? Nike. That's why they're trying to rip off Crocs.
And this is what I disagree. Like, we were talking earlier about how Nike would do something like this. This, I would say, needs to be Jif Lemon tested. Like, from a legal standpoint, like, come on now, right? If Crocs were the first to innovate and make what they were, and other businesses try to hop on a trend like this, right? I think that shouldn't be rewarded. I think that should be punished from a personal subjective opinion standpoint. Because you, at that point, did you make the design? Or are you piggybacking off to something else? Once again, literally the Jif Lemon case, right? Let me find a graphic, right? Because the literal legal precedent set by this. This, right? These lemons right here. Let me, there we go. Model. These lemons right here. There was a lawsuit over this because of a number of things. Brand recognition. Like there's criteria. What were the criteria? Let me, Jif Lemon, let me not use Google AI because I hate that. .com. That's a Wikipedia article. Law.co.uk. I'm trying to figure out what... Because there's specific criteria here that you have to follow. Goodwill and established trade, misrepresentation, an act by defendant which causes confusion to the claimant's customers, damage, actual potential damage to sales, or possibly produces a reputation. Like all of these things, right? Like, you know, doing the high school thing of, you know, make sure you're not using a .com or anything like that, right? Using something that is, for all intents and purposes, I don't know, .co.uk. Come to your own opinion. However, passing off, right? This comes off as passing off, right? Like, I think we can look at this and go, yeah, this is fairly, this right here, underneath my model. This is fairly, you know, similar to Crocs. I think there could be an argument for passing off, right? I think that this could get looked at from a legal standpoint, but I'm also not a legal expert. Substitute for legal advice, etc. Like, oh my god, dude, stuff like this actually like just infuriates me a little bit because there's a clear understanding of why someone like Nike would do something like this.
Okay, and I know what you're thinking. Don't worry, Hey Dude is gonna save the day. They're basically just like Crocs, except they're nowhere near as ugly, right? They're Crocs, but for people that still care about what people think about them. Guess what? In 2022, Crocs bought out Hey Dude.
Can't be stopped.
Okay, we've all seen that meme where Blockbuster, the old movie rental place that went out of business, had the opportunity to buy Netflix for like $7 or some ridiculously cheap price back in the day, and they passed on it and it ended up putting them out of business. Crocs did not make that same mistake. And guess what? Because of that, one day in the not too distant future, your ass is gonna be sitting in an old folks home wearing motherfucking Crocs, explaining to the nurse that back in your day, Netflix used to mail the DVDs to you and streaming wasn't a thing. And they're gonna be like, okay, Grandpa, take your meds, and the world is now run by Crocs. I hope you're happy. I cannot believe how unhinged this got. I also am amazed at how comfy these Crocs are.
Honestly, I'm so glad that this was this unhinged. I feel way more validated in being an unhinged individual.
I gotta go. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang, out.
Yeah, no, like Jif Lemon is a big.
And now for me to
thing.
unveil my exclusive collaboration, the Fat Electrician Croc. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not that famous.
You know what? I'm sure that they do it. I'm sure that if you brought a decent offer and financial incentive, I'm sure they do it. So when is this happening?
See ya.
Dude, I would unironically buy a pair. As long as it's not like $200, I'd do it. Okay. $60, $80 even if they're good. Pair of Crocs, Fat Electrician branded. I would do it. I would do it for an entire bit. Yeah, no, reason Jeff Lemon comes up, it is literally a big cornerstone IP law thing. In fact, if you're dealing with copyright, if you're dealing with anything IP related, even if you're on YouTube, you should be looking up Jeff Lemon. You should be understanding, at least at face value, what is being argued, what is being presented, etc. That is such a huge thing. This makes me look at, you know, what Nike is doing, right? And I can't agree with it. That's a little scummy. See my argument earlier in the video, at least in my own personal opinion. However, come to your own educated conclusion, right? And especially if you have specialty and or anything to add in regards to IP law, licensing, etc. Sure, make sure that you're not taking anything as inherent financial advice, as we are not financial advisors. And if you're doing anything in regards to finance, speak to your own financial advisor. Like, literally do that. But thank you all for copyright as well, right here, front and center, right? Gamers Nexus got Bloomberg copyright striked their video over a clip of, I think it was the president speaking. So, care about copyright because it sure cares about you, and it's going to be relevant years into the future. Thank you, Fat Electrician, for an amazing video. I actually really love videos like this, even though I definitely padded this one out. Oh my god, I talked way too much on this one. Thank you everyone for watching. Really do appreciate it, and I will see you all in the next one.